enhancing lives. This year, AML World Awareness Day focuses on the long-term physical and psychological effects of treatment for AML. And whereas on April 21, 2025, we joined a worldwide campaign in the crucial effort to save lives by taking action and educating those in our community about AML and providing support for those diagnosed with this horrific disease. By working together to increase awareness, support, and research about AML, we can make a difference in lives around the world. Now, therefore, the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Baker, Louisiana, do hereby proclaim and declare that April 2021, 2025 shall be known as AML World Awareness Day in Baker, Louisiana, in honor of District Chief Ronald Brady of the Baker Fire Department. In witness whereof we have herein to send our hands and cause the seal of the great city of Baker, Louisiana, to be affixed this 8th day of April, 2025. Signed, Darnell Waits, Mayor. Dr. Charles Vincent, President of the Council. Rochelle Dunn, Council Member. Desiree Collins, Council Member. Robert Young, Council Member. Cedric Murphy, Council Member.
Thank you so much. I move adoption of this resolution.
Second.
I have a motion that's been properly second. Any questions, any comments? All those in favor of adopting this motion say aye.
Aye. And
Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you so much, colleagues. And let me thank our clerk who worked very hard with me to get this before us this evening. I'm going to have Mrs. Chantel Brady, his lovely wife, to come up. She's well represented by Baker. Come on, Mrs. Brady, and she will introduce her son and her daughter-in-law, and they can come up with her as well. And she'll give us more information. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Baker. Thank you, Baker family. District Chief Ronald Brady of Baker Fire Department was recently diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, AML. This is a cancer of blood, and bone marrow where there's an abnormal increase in immature white blood cells, myoblastics. The exact cause of AML is not fully understood, but the very young cells called myeloid stem cells in your bone marrow that should develop into different types of white blood cells instead become cancerous. Some facts about leukemia. Acute is a fast-growing and can be fatal if left untreated. Myeloid leukemia creates cells that release enzymes to protect the body when bacteria or fungi enter and try to cause disease. Men are 31% more likely to get leukemia than women. There are also having a higher leukemia mortality rate than that is 30% higher than females. Ronald is presently at Ochsner Hospital in New Orleans, which is a leading hospital in leukemia. He asked me to come tonight to accept this proclamation for him and AML awareness, letting everyone know that we truly appreciate the city we love and serve, taking the initiative to recognize and bring awareness to AML, a disease that has become a part of our lives for this moment. We are putting together a platelet and blood drive, a platelet and blood donor drive on Thursday, April the 17th, 2025 at the Baker Fire Department from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If anybody is interested in donating or has questions, please contact either myself or Keith Peeves. Thank you very much.
All right.
While you're here, I want to present this proclamation as well, and we can take a picture with them. Go right ahead with your question.
Oh, I have a question. I just tell him I'm praying for him and keep him in my prayer.
I sure will.
That is my baby.
I will. I also want to let everybody know As of 5 o'clock this afternoon, he did start chemo, so we are underway to his healing.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
All right.
That's it.
That's good. So let me present this proclamation, and colleagues, if you all will come and join me up front here. And I love your Baker baseball.
One, two, and three. One more, one, two, and three. Relax your face. And sleep. One more time. One, two, and three. Amen.
Thank you so much. We're proud of you. Good to meet you. Good to meet you again. I didn't know this before. Yeah. Each should have.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Benson.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yes, sir.
And thank the family for coming.
Yes.
All right. Item number 1, resolution to the state of Louisiana voicing the mayor and council's opposition to the proposed changes at Jetson Correctional. I know we sent you guys a copy of that. If you can, Mr. City Attorney, go ahead and read that for us, and then we'll get a motion in a second and go ahead and send that to the state.
Okay. Be it resolved by the mayor of the city of Baker and the Baker City Council during a regular meeting of the Baker City Council assembled on April 8, a proper quorum being present. As follows to wit. Whereas we express our strong opposition to the proposed juvenile facility being placed near a residential area in the city of Baker. While we understand the need for such facilities, we believe that placing it in close proximity to residential homes would have several negative impacts on our community. And whereas the presence of a juvenile facility in a residential area could lead to increased safety concerns, residents, especially families with young children, may feel uneasy about the potential risks associated with having such a facility nearby. That this could result in heightened anxiety and a sense of insecurity among community members. And whereas the presence of a juvenile facility in our community could lead to a decline in property values, potential home buyers may be deterred by the proximity of the facility, which could negatively affect the real estate market and the financial well-being of the current homeowners. Whereas the facility could contribute to increased noise and traffic in the area. The movement of staff, visitors, transportation of juveniles could disrupt the peaceful environment that residents currently enjoy. This would not only affect the quality of life, but also strain the existing infrastructure, whereas our community is known for its tranquility and family-friendly atmosphere. Introducing a juvenile facility could change the perception of our area and potentially lead to social stigmatization. Whereas, while we recognize the importance of providing care and rehabilitation for juveniles, we strongly urge you to reconsider the location of this facility. Placing it near a residential area is not in the best interest of our community. We hope you will take our concerns into account and explore alternative locations that would be more suitable for such a facility. Therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and the Baker City Council on behalf of the citizens of Baker that the state be officially notified that any and all considerations, intentions, and or attempts to locate a juvenile correctional facility near a residential area in the city of Baker are strongly objected to and opposed. As such, would be capriciously detrimental and adverse to the community and economic interests of the citizens of Baker. He signed Darnell Waits, Mayor, Dr. Charles Vincent, President of the Council, Rochelle Dunn, Council Member, Robert Young, Council Member, Cedric Murphy, Council Member, and Desiree Collins, Council.
All right. Questions on that? Strong enough? You guys? You good? And let's get a motion and go ahead and send that on out then. Get a motion a second. Have a motion by the president, second by the vice president. Any questions, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, we're going to table for now. Item number 3, Mr. President.
Okay. April is also Minority Health Awareness Month, and we want the citizens of Baker to know about this. And as you well know, I'm a big fan about knowledge, and knowledge is power. So, Mr. Attorney, if you read this, I'll move for adoption, declaring April 2025 as Minority Health Awareness Month in the city of Baker.
Proclamation. Whereas the City of Baker enthusiastically supports the efforts of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and thousands of individuals on the front lines across the country to create a nation free of disparities in health and health care. We believe it is critically important to reduce the disproportionately high burden of illness, injury, and premature deaths that affect racial and ethnic minorities and other underserved populations, and create better health outcomes for all Americans. Whereas we support the National Partnership for Action to the End Health Disparities in their efforts to achieve health equity. Data shows that where a person lives, learns, works, and plays affects their health. The disparities in health between racial and ethnic groups and others impose a significant burden on the whereas the combined cost of health inequities and premature deaths were estimated to be $1.24 trillion between 2021 and 2024. And whereas with the help of other partners, including the federal government, the private sector, and leaders here in our own community, we can work together to make sure that everyone has equal potential for good health. And whereas the United States will be unable to significantly improve its overall health and productivity without meaningfully addressing health disparities experienced by significant segments of the population. Now, therefore, the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Baker, Louisiana, Parish of East Baton Rouge, do declare and proclaim April 2025 shall be Minority Health Awareness Month in the City of Baker. In witness whereof, we have herein to set our hands and cause the seal of the great City of Baker to be affixed this 8th day of April 2025. Signed, Cornell Waits, Mayor, Dr. Charles Vincent, President of the Council, Rochelle Dunn, Council Member, Robert Young, Council Member, Cedric Murphy, Council Member, and Desiree Collins.
Okay, thank you so much. If I'm in order, I move adoption of this proclamation, and I'll certainly make sure this resolution proclamation, make sure it gets to the proper authorities.
Have a motion. I'll entertain a second. Second by Councilmember Collins. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, Dr. Vincent, item number 4, sir.
Okay. Knowledge is still power. 2025 is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we never pay much attention to that, but that's a problem throughout this country and the world, I really think. So if I'm in order, I move that we read this amendment, this resolution, listen to it, and I'm going to move for adoption of this resolution. So, Mr. Attorney, if you'd be so kind as to read that for me.
Yes, proclamation, National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas every child deserves to be cared for by parents who are loving, protecting, and caring. A safe and healthy childhood results in confident, successful adults. Whereas creating a protective environment for our young people requires the shared commitment of individuals, families, faith-based, and community organizations. Parents and family members are the first and most important influences in a child's life. And whereas we must all join together in the quest to stop child abuse by getting involved. Local government can also improve the lives of our young people by doing all they can to keep children safe from harm. And whereas together, we must protect our future generations so that they can realize the opportunities life has to offer and ensure healthy and safe lives for all of our children. Now, therefore, The mayor and the city council of the city of Baker, Louisiana do hereby proclaim and declare that the month of April 2025 shall be known as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Baker, Louisiana. In witness where we hereby set our hands and cause the Great Seal of Baker, Louisiana to be affixed on this 8th day of April 2025. Signed, Darnell Waits, Mayor, Charles Vincent, President of the Council, Robert Young, Council Member, Cedric Murphy, Council Member, Desiree Collins, Council Member, and Rochelle Dunn, Council Member.
Okay, thank you so much. If I'm in order, Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of this resolution, proclamation, and we'll certainly get it to the proper authorities and individuals, and therefore they will know how we support their efforts.
Yes, sir. You're in order. Motion by the president. I entertain a second. Second by the vice president. All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it. All right. Thank you, Dr. Vincent, on that.
Thank you so much.
Let's move on to new business. Item number 1. Introduce ordinance 2025-4, regulations regarding automobile changes and automobile tire changes in residential and subdivision areas, provided for other matters regarding the same. So this is an introduction. I put this on here because we got a lot of complaints about people doing their cars in the front yard, changing tires, doing brake jobs, and if they were just doing them and get them out of the way, it would be a little different, but they're sitting there. And so it's happening all over the city, and it's time that we send out a notice to make sure that that's not the place to do it in the front yard. Doesn't happen everywhere else, and it just took a few people to take advantage of it for the situation, and it's getting out of hand. If you drive the district like I do, you see it everywhere. And so now I'm starting to see 2 or 3 cars jacked up in front of houses. So it is an introduction, colleagues, and I've had some conversations already today, but during the public hearing we can discuss it, but it's an introduction. Any questions?
Comment.
Yes, sir.
I understand it's an introduction, but I've had quite a bit of conversation too, and it's a lot of backlash on that. I'll take ourselves when we put our roof on 2 weeks in a row. We had to change the tire on our car. So if you don't change your tire on your car, if you have a flat, where you gonna change it at?
As written, and it may be sufficient, it may not, it's y'all's decision, but in section 2, it specifically indicates that with the exception of unexpected emergency situations, and that's something that obviously if code enforcement rolls up on somebody and they say that, code enforcement is going to have to take them at face value. So that it's an emergency situation and they won't be fined.
Let me ask you this. Don't we have ordinance in place already for people that's doing this already?
I'm not aware. I don't know. I was asked to draft this. I
No,
didn't
we
find
don't.
anything like that.
We don't. That's why we put it in
I could
there.
have missed it.
That's why we
I think we need to look at that a little bit closer. I think we do.
What's the
I can't get it right
Do
now.
we have an ordinance in place? What's the ordinance number? You got the ordinance number? And what does it state? Do we know what? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ordinance I thought. I didn't think we had an ordinance that said that we could.
But if you got somebody that's doing mechanic work, that's an isolated deal. Code enforcement need to do what they need to do on that. We shouldn't, my take is we shouldn't punish our residents because of somebody doing mechanic work and we not enforcing that ordinance.
But how are we going to enforce it at night? Because that's when they're doing it at night. Code enforcement don't work at night. That's a police issue.
But they're not working on cars at night now. If they mechanic and they ain't mechanicing just at night.
This introduction, but again, you guys have 2 weeks to knock it around, deliberate. But I'll only say this for what it's worth: changing the tires not necessarily mechanic work. Mechanic work obviously involves a whole other thing. So that's why I'd
pulling
say
motors
that-
and all this
yeah,
kind of stuff. If they got
potentially.
somebody
Potentially.
doing, code
Yeah,
enforcement need to.
and potentially, if that's what, and, I think I did run across that, but that's not specifically tire. I was asked to address strictly the tire changing issue
'Cause
with some flexibility.
I have constituents that change their children's brakes, and I don't feel like they should be punished.
And again, you're not going to find anybody. That law is on the books, code enforcement, as well as law enforcement, which I don't think they get involved with, are very, very discretionary and liberal and understanding. Sometimes when you pass ordinances, it's designed to create a chilling effect on certain behavior. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's enforced 75%, 50% of the time, if at all, because it could be an exigent circumstance that's explained. But if code enforcement sees that there's a persistent pattern of somebody changing brakes 3-4 days, or then they realize, well, they may be bringing somebody in to do business or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So they have the discretion to do that. They're advised. The mayor pretty much doesn't allow these guys to pull the trigger, so to speak, on notices unless he's satisfied that it's something that's being, egregiously abused. But you guys, whatever you want to do, I just ask.
I would just like to,
But that too, again, if they doing mechanic work, the ordinance that we have should be enforced.
Right.
yeah, I would like to say, Mayor, if there's any way that we could possibly look at the ordinance that we already have in place and then try to adopt some of this information here with that ordinance and see if it be sufficient. And I mean, not the mechanic work in front of the houses. I'm against it, okay, but I'm not against people changing their oil or because a lot of people can't afford to go to the get their oil changed because change the oil costs $70 and $80 now, and you gotta realize things are going. Yeah, it depends on what kind of car you have, and then a lot of people get warranties and they have the oil changed for so many years and everything. Like myself for right now, but I do have old bugs that I gotta get the oil changed. But at the same time, I think the code enforcement should step out and start doing a little bit more of their job for as those people that having 3 and 4 cars in front of that's jacked up, they need to have them to do what they need to do to have that removed. Ask them to put it in the back of their yard, if they're not able to work with if the neighbor is not able to work with the constituents. You know what I'm saying? Like some of us neighbors, we can't talk to our neighbor and say, look, like I told my neighbor the other day, I said, now, what you gonna do with your mobile home? He say, I got insurance on it and I got tag on it, so I shut my mouth, okay? So, it might didn't look good to me, but it's, and then he say, well, you got stuff too, so I had to shut my mouth.
Okay,
So,
so this is
let's
what
just
we're gonna do.
think about how we say it.
We
and
can
look at it.
I
That's
can
all
do
I'm
that.
saying.
I can do that. If you got a solution to something, that's fine. Don't wait till you get in here at 6:30 and tell me about that because
Right.
we could have already talked about this.
You right.
But here's the deal with code enforcement.
Put this on as for us to talk about. This just
Yeah,
came
well,
out
the
Thursday.
talk about it is the Thursday. I mean, but here's the deal with code enforcement. Okay, that's what you say. So now we wrote this up so many times with the cars in the front. We get so many different explanations. Now it just depends on where you are, where you live. If that's what you want in front of your house or not. I don't have a problem with it. Okay, if you want to change the wording, I can live with that, and we can make it another way. We do have an ordinance that says that you can't do no mechanic work.
Right.
Okay, and so, but just like all the rest of the ordinances here that's very vague, what does that mean?
Just
Exactly.
vague to
Yeah, well, this, I respectfully I beg to differ. It's not vague. He asked me to be extremely specific, and I would simply recommend you guys take a real close look at it, read it, compare it with whatever else is on the book, and make a decision. And finally, and I know you didn't mean it this way, but those code enforcement guys,
I'm gonna let
they
you talk to them.
they do their job. They really
We're
do.
not doing cars.
Well,
And,
I mean,
and this particular draft specifically limits it to front yard.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want. It doesn't restrict them from doing it in the backyard. That's the whole point, and that's what's listed in there. So,
And I understand,
whatever
and I'm
y'all
not
decide
saying
do.
to the point that code enforcement doesn't do their job, but what I'm saying is a lot of times people feel that they are not doing their job because they keep coming back and saying, I have constituents that they have come to me several times about the cars being jacked up in front of the house, the children can't pass by the ride they bicycles. You know, I have constituents constantly telling me that over and over and over again. We discussed this here and everything. I'm not saying that, you know, I know they can't be all in one place at one time and everything. And I try to get it solved before I get in here, man. You know, I do.
Right.
Okay. But I ain't saying I'm perfect. I just saw this myself, and I probably need to
Okay, let's do this.
tighten so. But
let's
I just
do
still
this.
agree that we need to work with both ordinances.
Okay, so let's do this. Go ahead, ma'am. 2 minutes.
Dr. Tony, 931 Husband Street. For the benefit of, can y'all hear me with this? Okay. For the benefit of us in the audience and those that are listening, can you read the proposed ordinance in its entirety so we can truly understand? Because he mentioned like section 2.
It's in the,
We don't have benefit of that. So if we have any concerns about it, we can intelligently come to our representatives and share the concerns.
when you introduce it, I think we just got the title, but we have the ordinance.
You have this, Mayor? You want this?
That's the ordinance.
Excuse me, baby.
It's not very long at all.
Well, that's fine. Just can you read it? Because when we come back 2 weeks, you know, if we have public comments about it, all we have is a title. We don't know.
Well, it'll
what
be
the issue
it will be on the website, and it'll be here. It's always here.
No, it's
Okay.
always on there, but it's never listed out. It's just the subject matter is. I think
got
that's
it.
how it's supposed to be.
So it
according to the law.
says regarding automobile motor oil changing and automobile tire changing within the residential area and subdivisions in the city of Baker to promote the safety and aesthetic well-being of the citizens of the city of Baker. Definitions: automobile shall mean all motorized combustible transport vehicles privately or publicly owned. Residential area subdivision shall mean applied to all residents and businesses addresses within the city limits of Baker. Automobile tire and changes regulations. Automobile oil and tire changes regulations, with the exception of designated and duty licensed automobile maintenance business within the city of Baker. It shall be unlawful to conduct the automobile oil change or any type of mechanic work on an automobile in the front yard or space of any residence or address located within the city of Baker, with the exception of designated and duly licensed automobile maintenance businesses within the city of Baker, with the exception of unexpected emergency situations. And it says it should be unlawful to conduct automobile tire changes in the front yard or space of any resident located in the city of Baker. So what I see is that this part right here, and we can go back, that when we talk about oil changes, if we have an ordinance already that says that you can't do any mechanical work in there, I think we could go back, because I'm not hard to deal with. I don't take none of this personal. So we can go back and we can change that and let me finish, and go back and change it if y'all want to. Okay. My point is this, is that a tire change, I understand that. Ain't nobody gonna write you up for a tire change if you changing the tires. But when you come, if I can come back, I can go home right now and I can go to my street and I can see a car that's been sitting there jacked up for 4 months. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So what they're doing, they're not changing any tires. They're not doing anything. Okay? It's just sitting there, jumped up. So how do we fix it? Go ahead. I saw 2 hands, 1 hand. Go ahead. Go ahead and state your name and
I live at 14005 Longview. I heard you use the word combustible.
yeah, combustible.
Okay, you know you're going
Right.
okay, so you need to put that, I think you need to insert that in there too to take care of all that. You want to come back and redo your ordinance.
That's a good deal. We can do that too. Go ahead, man. State your name and your address.
3747 Farm Drive. I see that your ordinance specifically states front yard. I think you said something.
Right.
There are a lot of us in the residential areas. For example, if I cannot change a flat tire in my front yard, I don't have access to do that in the backyard.
Right.
If you have individuals who are conducting business, the business are tire changes, fixing on automobiles, first of all, they don't have a business license.
Right.
To do
That's true.
and then that is
I'm gonna
where
address.
penalty should come about if they're operating without a license. But to penalize me as a resident here in the community just to change a tire or change my oil, I don't think that's just.
Well, we can change that. That's just a gist of it.
I don't think the ordinance is necessary for that.
Okay. So we'll have to read we'll have to get the ordinance. But here's the deal. We can go back to it. So I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna table it. So we got 2 weeks. Okay. Bring me some suggestions. That's all I ask. Bring me some suggestions on the other ordinance. Okay.
I gotta pull, you.
Yeah, and we'll hold on. Yeah, it's there. We ain't gonna be able to get it tonight.
Okay.
But bring me something else on the other ordinance. Now, this is the question I want to ask you, Ms. Mack. You do it now. You said, Ms. Mack, you do agree that we don't want people working on vehicles that don't have a license in the neighborhood. And so here's how do we find that out? Because we always ask the questions when we send there. No, I'm not. This is not a mechanic shop. I'm working on this for my cousin Judy. I'm working on this for my brother Joey.
Every day,
I'm doing this.
Every day?
Yeah, and if you see it there every day, so when we write them up and they bring them up here, that's what they tell the judge. My deal is we know what they're doing, okay? We're not trying to penalize anybody for changing a tire. That's petty. That's not what we're saying. We can change that. That's not where we're at. Go ahead, ma'am.
And with regard to people who have concerns about someone at their own residence changing a tire, changing their own oil, if the code enforcement officer even happens to issue a citation, they will get sent a notice with a date, a compliance date on it. If this is a one-time or once every couple of months thing, they will not be in violation by the time the date, the compliance date on the item is listed. There wouldn't even be an opportunity
Right.
for there to actually be a violation because by the time the date, the first or the second date is done, that will not be an ongoing activity that would then be re-photographed or re-documented by the code enforcement.
So with that said, do they have to come to court for that?
No, that's
I mean,
something
because,
that.
you know, no, the reason why I was saying it is because she was saying by the second time, and the reason why I'm stating it like that is because if you working and you have to take off from work to come and take care of that issue, then that's a problem right there to me. Okay.
When you get the initial notice that goes out in any code enforcement action is a courtesy notice.
Okay.
It's just saying, hey, this is the city, we're letting you know that, this is not allowable or there's a problem with this, could you please remediate it? Could you please get rid of it? By the time they receive a notice, it's written up, and if they receive a notice, that's generally about a week, and then they'll have an additional 7 days or 5 days beyond that to comply. Then the code enforcement officer will go back at that time and then document whether or not at that point in time the offense is still there, the violation or potential violation is still there. And then after that, a certified letter would be sent with the same time constraints generally as the initial one. So that's...
So time frames, how much time are we speaking? Are we talking about 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
Almost a month. But
because, and I think data collections in terms of the analysis of what is in actuality happening in the neighborhoods should be looked at, should be addressed. Because I can tell you there are people that's operating as a business and it's unacceptable.
yeah, but that's so you were right. But you said that we're talking about changing tires. You said that you don't want to be, we don't think you need to be penalized for changing tires. With 21 days in between that, I could change 10 tires. Because if we catch somebody changing a tire, we know, we can look at that and say, I know if they're changing a tire. You're going to change that tire, it's going to take you 20 minutes to do that. Nobody's going to write you up and get a fund for that. Now, we can take that out. I'm trying to work through it right now. What I'm telling you is you can take that part out. But we do have one that says no mechanic work done, period. That's the one we need to go ahead and take a look at it.
Right.
They're trying to penalize nobody for the tire, so we need to get off of that one because that's not what's going on. What we're trying to do is stop people from working on their cars and make sure they do have a license. So if you say, because if you say that, because you know that they don't hear. But what we saying, you say you can't work, I can't work on my cars. This is what I do on my as a hobby. I don't care whether you work on your tires or not. It's just that don't do it in the front of your house where we all have to see it, and you don't get it done for 2 or 3 months. That's all I'm saying. Changing tires, yeah, we can change that word now. Yeah,
But I'm just saying, though,
yeah.
if I'm changing, everybody in here know what I do. And if I'm changing I'll say, all my daughter's vehicle, and the code enforcer come and give me, he wasting his time.
He's not. That's not what we're looking at. What is not go to code.
The process is not going to catch periodic activity.
It's not.
Go catch patterns.
It's only
Patterns.
going to catch continual activity.
Right.
But see the way that was given out to the media, and this morning, the media and stuff, it wasn't given out like that. It was given out like we can stop all changing the time. That's the way the media.
Mayor,
put
may
it
I
out there.
suggest, and I don't know what was said to the media, but
Nobody talked to the
said,
media.
yeah, you
Well, it
said
was
this
on
is
there.
going to be.
It was on there.
And
You
nobody
said
talked to
this
the
is
media,
going to
so
be
I didn't talk to-
put on the website, right?
Yeah.
All right, I would suggest everyone take a minute and read it, because the spirit behind it is to deal with folks who are running illegal businesses. They got Tom, Dick, and Harry bringing
Right.
their car to change your tire, your oil in front of my house. That's exactly what it's designed to do. So if you look at Section 2, it
Yeah.
says, with the exceptions of duly authorized businesses. So that's what it's meant to deal
what it
with.
is. So I don't
And that's
know.
who they'll be pouncing on.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So just take a look.
What you just said is true, but also it's a health hazard when you do that. Because if you really want to catch somebody doing that, go look at the drainage pipe.
Right.
That's the other thing.
That's all.
With the oil now when you said the oil, that's a different deal. So how can we legislate whether they do the right thing when they take the oil out? Some people know how to change oil. He may know how to do it. Some people don't care. He's not going to put it in the drain, but will the next person not put it in the drain?
'Cause
That-
you could dump it at free.
Right, but
Take it to
you
AutoZone
could take it there and do that, but you can't, am I going to be sure that everybody's going to do that? No, I can't be sure that everybody's going to do that. So we're not trying to make it permanent. What we're trying to do is get it to a point where people don't do it. Now let me swing back again so we can move on. I can't vote on it. I put it out here just to get a good conversation on it. Look at the other ordinance. We can table it. We can look at the other ordinance, see what that other ordinance says, because it's going, and if we need to go into detail, what everything y'all talking about, let's do that. But I do think that we need to do something.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. We need to do something. Changing tires, I ain't changing tires yet. We can take that off. That's people gonna change tires. That's gonna happen all the time. But yeah, it don't take but a minute. You ain't gonna do that. But that oil thing, that's a big deal. Okay, and because if I walk by the back of my, well, we ain't got no backyard. So where we walking in, all I see, if you go down, you see oil in the ditch. So they change the oil and they pour it in the ditch. When you go over to District 3, you see oil all on the ground. And so what about the people that don't own homes? What about the renters? You think they got that kind of commitment like we do for the people who own the houses? Well, we can't legislate that. I don't know. But I think we ought to put something in place for the people because you got two good arguments going on. It's good debate. Some people say you should. Some people say you don't. Let's meet in the middle with it. That's all we got to do. But we ain't trying to stop you from changing your tires in front of your house. And if you know how to change your oil, some people got the stuff to change the oil. But just look at that ordinance and see what that ordinance say, and then we can go into depth. So pull it up tomorrow. Come out at me. We'll be back on Friday. Come out at me. Make the changes on it that you want to put in it, and then we'll bring it back to the table. How about that? That's good? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's table that.
Let me just say, I'm just delighted that we're having this discussion. You know, my big thing about how this city looks and having a voice in what comes to the city, that's a pet peeve of mine, so I'm glad to hear this discussion.
Okay, that's a good deal. So, the city, the council clerk will get you a copy of that ordinance there, and it's kind of thick too. So, but we can go in.
It's thick and it's confusing and it's vague. But
Yeah.
again, whatever you want to do, but read this particular proposal as well, because if you look at it, the spirit is to deal with folks who are running unofficial businesses or doing this too often in their front yards, not just for their families, but for other people, and probably getting paid.
I've said
That
it.
is a problem.
Yeah, I've said it
Yeah.
before. The ordinances were written to not hurt anybody. Back then, 50 years ago, it was written to say I did something. Man, they really are vague. But we done changed now. See, it was one or two cars in the driveway. Now when you go up there, kids coming back. You got 4 or 5 cars in your driveway now. And people, so it's like the ordinance, Ms. Mike, when you say don't park on the grass. But if all my kids home and everybody got a car, we can't park. It's a safety hazard to park on the street. So you have to park on the grass. So when I see something like that, me and Angela talk about it all the time. Man, let me call them. Can you put the car somewhere else? And that's all that is there. But when they parked on the street, then I call the police because that means that the public safety people are going to have a problem trying to get by and go in somewhere like that. It's just common sense. This is all it is. So we're trying to do. So let's do that. Let's table that. All right, let's move on to item number 1. So we're going to table it, right? We good?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's table it.
Mr. Attorney, do we need a motion to table it in a second and all that kind
Yeah, you probably should, yeah.
of? Okay.
So you making a motion to
I
table
make
it?
a motion that we table.
Can I get a second? Second by Vice President. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, guys. All right. Adopt ordinance 2025, chapter 28 and 29 of the City of Baker Code of Ordinances. This is the stormwater management that we do every year. This is a public meeting. Go ahead, ma'am.
931 Hudson Street, Dr. Tony. For the purpose, again, of everybody listening, can you read it in its entirety so we know exactly what's going to be voted on?
Yeah, we have it there. Yeah, we should have a copy of it. We gave the copy. Here it is right here. I got it right here. Yeah.
This particular thing is about
Yeah, you can read
25
the.
or 30 pages
So,
long.
so
the
the deal
reason
is,
why, let me say, the reason why it's been published for the past 2 weeks is for that very reason. So if you want it read in its entirety, we'll do that. You're under no obligation to do that because it's already been, you can talk about the highlights if you've read it. If someone has a question on it,
right.
that type of thing.
We'll make the copies, but I will read section 1, and section 1 is the meat of it. It says regarding the management of storm water in the city of Baker, Louisiana, during construction and post-construction for all development, redevelopment, the following ordinance is hereby enacted as follows in chapter 28 and 29 to the City of Baker Code of Ordinance. So you can go there and read it. We can make copies for you right here, but it's been published for 2 weeks. Okay, you can always come and get it. It's a big deal. It's the same thing we do every single year. We have to do it every year for the state. Okay?
Where is it published? Like how you introduced the other one? After we have the meeting and the minutes are produced, where then can we see that?
Yeah. Yes, you can speak to that. So we'll publish it. It should be published in the minutes. It should be, it's been published for 2 weeks. So anything that's been published, you can always come get it. Yeah, this is it right here. I got a copy of it right here. All right. So this is a public hearing. Public hearing. Any comment?
I had,
More questions? Just go ahead, sir.
I had a question. There was a question, there was a section in there that talks about superintendent. Who would be the person that would kind of know that you are violating the stormwater deal?
Well, you know, the stormwater deal, Dr. Benson, to my knowledge, is a state program. Yeah, state and
Okay.
They're making it, trying to make it uniform with different states, within each state and its parishes or counties, so that it can be consistent. And so there's input from parish, state, and federal, so that it could all pretty much be unified.
Okay.
And so
And for us, who?
we got public works people, whoever is designated when there's a particular issue that comes up, or it could be someone from the inspection department, or it could be someone from the state that comes and pops us, and they're going to check because it can affect, different fundings that you would normally get from the state or federal funding, that type of thing. So, that's something that they're really, really pushing, and we've taken a while before we kind of like, went through it and accepted it. And basically,
yeah, it took a minute.
It's kind of like one of those requirements that, we have to, as a matter of due diligence, pass. And I just wanted to make certain it was consistent with other counties and parishes in terms of what they get required for.
Okay, now that was one of my questions. Let's see. On page 19, we talked about a time frame from 7. Could we move that? Let's see, page 17.
Must be 17.
It must be 17.
No, 19. Well, it is 19. It's the last page.
Yeah, it's the last page. It's the last one.
The last.
That's the one you're talking about, Dr. Benson?
Read that section, because I have the copy you gave us when it was first.
Which one? Which one? Which one?
The one that you gave us on the 18th of March.
This one is the same one.
Same one.
Yeah.
So I have, let's see, page 17, time frame extension. Page 12, the yard mowing down. Could that include people putting grass down the catch basin? Let's go back to, let's start page 12 there. And that was good to...
It's better to cite the section, Doc, what section you're referring to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
You done moved
our
it
last
around,
page is
huh?
a legal page. And so,
Okay.
We probably got...
Okay.
Well, he say page
Page 12 on the litter meaning. So that's section 29.6. And if you go down, that the one that says litter, which is, if you look at 29.6, definition.
For the purpose of this chapter, the following shall mean the city of Baker means employees or designees of the mayor of the city of Baker designate to enforce this chapter. That answers the question. Best practices means to schedule activities for prohibits practices on 29.6. Definition.
29?
Yeah. On page 11.
No. Section.
Yeah, section 29. Page 11.
Page 11, Article 2, 29.
Yeah, under definition.
And then you have litter there, which is about the fifth one.
Yeah, litter means organic or...
That's right.
Or,
Would that include, because that's a problem where I see the yards being mowed and they'll blow the trash, the grass down the catch basin.
Yes, sir. It specifically mentions grass if you read it. Grass is one of the things in there. Rubbish, grass, debris, trash,
Okay.
weeds,
And so that would include the grass being blowed down the catch basin, which is seemingly an issue when I see that so often. Okay, that's good.
And that's for the construction people, or that's for anyone?
The yard mower. Anybody mowing the lawn?
Lawnmower?
Yeah.
Okay.
but particularly construction folks when they come
Yeah.
in these cities. They're just trying to do their thing and get out. They're trying to regulate the effects it has.
Well, that's because I see a lot of them blow the
That's
grass
exactly
straight in
right.
the road, so.
Or down the catch basin, which it'll go there eventually after you pour it into the, and then create problems with clutter of the catch basin.
But I think we got an ordinance that we talked about on that. Did we pass an ordinance for that?
If we do, again, you gotta pass
You got
this.
it, yeah.
And every ordinance is going to say at the end, any other ordinance that's in conflict with whatever you pass it at this moment, right? This supersedes it, and to the extent it doesn't conflict with something you already has in place, it's a non-issue. That's why you have that language in the last 1 or 2 paragraphs of every ordinance that you vote on and pass.
But Dr. Vinson, we haven't changed this ordinance much over the last years, because I went back and looked at it. You voted for it every year. We voted for the ordinance every year.
Okay.
We update it when we have the updates, but it's updated. It's pretty much updated.
Okay. I'm just trying to see if it's reasonable. For example, section 2992, that's the page 17. Appeal of notice of violation. You think that time frame is kind of tight there?
That's the time frame that the state
Notice of
has.
appeal must be received within
The
5 working days. You sure don't want to make that 7 working days?
LDEQ says that we have to have it, so we're required to have a
5
fully
working days.
implemented stormwater. That's what it is from DEQ, LDEQ.
Okay.
And so this is, we could be changing their stuff. So
Okay, and then 20 days in that same paragraph, take place within 20 days from the date of receipt of notice of appeal. The decision of the City of Baker Council or their designee shall be final. You don't want to change any of those dates. That 20 days late in that paragraph is what DEQ requires.
yeah, we'll keep it
Okay.
right there with them.
Okay. I thought that was a tight frame for
Yeah.
people to,
But see, they come out and do inspections too. So and they're gonna follow this.
okay.
Yeah. So let me be clear about the ordinances said about the publishing. We do not publish ordinances for introduction prior to it being adopted. You can always come to City Hall and get it. Okay. So if you want it, come to City Hall and get it. It's always been like that. All right. So any more questions with this one? Any more? Any comments? Anybody? Councilmember Young?
As I said when we first introduced this, several cities have won awards because of this, and I hope we kind of mirror Central, I think, was one of the cities.
I think it was, I don't know whether it was Central or not, but it was one of the cities, but they're pretty much like the city attorney say, it's the same pretty much across the board. That's what they're trying to do.
That's part of the incentive, so they offer these little awards because they're trying to get everybody to kind of
Okay.
the way they want to implement.
Right. So, any questions? Any other questions?
No, sir.
Can I get a motion to adopt this so we can send it to the state?
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we adopt this so it can be sent to the state.
And a second? Second by Councilmember Young. Motion by Vice President. All those in favor say aye.
Dr. Vincent seconded too now.
Okay, yeah, well, we got 2 seconds. All right, motion carries. All right. So here you go, Ms. Angela. Send this forward to them. All right. So that's done. All right. Announcements. So District 2
Thank you, Mayor.
and then Councilmember Vincent.
Okay, I'm just going to be brief. I just want to thank Anthony and Kevin for the work that they did for us, the mayor allowing them over there on the Leland College, and I really appreciate that. I don't know what we talked about, the mayor, about, and I'm going to get with my constituents over there on Leland College about the racing, the driving fast cars, and one of my constituents, he was just fierce and everything, but I know it's something hard to do. You know, it's a hard test. I don't know the solution for it. We talked about speed bumps, you know, and you know we had the tragedy where the young man ran into the car and everything over there, into the house.
To the house.
Ran into the house, told the house off the pier. But anyway, um, I just want my constituents to know that I'm still on top of the things that we discussed when we had our District 2 meeting. And I did follow up, just making this here note on record because I wasn't here at the last council meeting, that I've discussed some of my concerns and the problems with you, and you agreed to address the majority of them. So I want to thank you for working with me on that. That's why I tell them I can't get too mad with you because I got to get you to get these things done for me. You know what I'm saying? So you got to work with them. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, man. I just want to tell you that. Thank you. I just want to address that and that concern.
I got a concern. The house that the guy ran into, do we know who owned the house?
Yes, the Leathermans.
Okay. The Leathermans, are they going to tear down the house?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna talk to them. I got some people that's kind of, you know, that's an old house.
He almost
Now,
tore it down.
but
He did tear it down. He ain't almost tore it down.
well,
He
somebody
tore it
wants
down.
the 10. Somebody wants the 10. So you know that house got a little cypher in it. So somebody might want the cypher wood. You know, so might can put that out there. I don't know.
I ain't gonna say nothing on the record, but I just tell him to come by so we can tell him who to go and get it if he wants to tear it down.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
You got that right. Yeah.
I will talk to him.
All right.
Thank you.
We can do that. Okay. Dr. Benson.
Okay. Mine is basically for information and to thank the mayor and Public Works. I called him out. I talked to Mr. Thomas, and he said when it was raining, so I just knew that the sewer lines might clog up as they did before. Well, they were bubbling over. So he said, let's wait until it stopped raining and call me back in an hour. It stopped raining, so I didn't call him back, and it stopped bubbling. But my wife told me it came out the next day. I was not at home and went ahead and thank you so much for that. Cleared it out and everything, and I could see the results of their work when I got home. So thank you, Public Work, and they are so good about coming out at the call out and taking care of business, and I appreciate that. Secondly, Mayor, did you get a chance to see if they was able to change out those lights across from Murphy service station on Plank right at Walmart? You know, where those two people were killed.
Yeah, we sent that.
Because I know we was working with two different. You said
We sent that. I don't know. I wish you would have told me that so I could have called them prior to that. We can check that.
Okay, yeah, I did tell you, but
I know we got a bunch of lights that they're fixing, so we'll check.
okay, and I want to get by there at night to see if I can see pretty well as well.
That
Okay.
reminds me, Dr. Benson, I got a number for you over there, one of your constituents over there.
Okay. Very good.
I
Very
pretty
good.
much told them, but you know, you need to tell them.
Okay, okay, please. And lastly, do we have a cab service in Baker? At one time, we authorized a young man with a yellow cab, and I thought it was in your district. This may have been before you was on the council. But is there anyone on the council or in the audience that know of a cab service?
CAB?
Yes,
Like,
CAB.
like regular cabs like we grew
Yellow
up with?
cab, yes.
Yeah, it was a guy who lived here that had that cab service for the last, yeah, he retired, yeah. So his cab is not here.
Because I called you about the links, and they needed to get to Zachary. It wasn't going to Lane, and I think links just, as we did with the young man that was here the other meeting.
Well, with
They
links,
kind of go, with links.
it's an individual conversation between the person going where they're going and the links people.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. I see. Don't let. So it's an individual conversation that you have.
Okay. Very good. service is
No,
gone.
he just lived here.
He just lived here.
for income tax purposes. He was doing his business in the EBR.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. He wasn't trying to do nothing with that tax. That
okay,
tax was old as me.
okay. Okay, that's all
I have one question, Mayor. This is a question. When they build those houses down there on Groom Road on the other end, are they gonna put lights going down there? 'Cause it's real dark down there. I'm just asking. Or are they going toward Groom Road, you know, to 61?
964.
Yeah, they need to put. That's a good
I'm just
question.
asking.
Yeah, we've asked, and you know, we've gotten they are. We're not really sure because it's unincorporated Baker.
Right.
Has nothing to do with us. So they do need some lights coming in. I can't see nothing coming that way when you're trying to make that turn there.
Mhm.
But that's another discussion. I don't discuss because every time we do something, you know,
I know.
Yeah.
No, I was just asking
It's
because
dark.
the reason why I was asking, I was concerned too, since the juveniles is gonna be coming back over
Right.
there, and then
Right.
those people are building their homes over there, and that's we getting an access from that. You know, we gonna benefit from that, and so we might want to look at, finding out how we can help them be able to be more visual and be able to see
I
more.
think one thing that we need to do, that's a question for Metro Council Kenny.
Okay.
And you know, for those of y'all who, you know,
Okay,
who with him, ask him about some lights back there, you know, because, you know, council member, the number one is on the Plank Road side. So that's Kenny. That's his whole area back there.
Okay.
And see, can he do that? And I think, you know, he might be able to make that happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right. Dr. Vincent, there was something I was going to say. Remember the conversation on the lift stations, y'all? We talked about the lift stations and how important the lift stations are when it's raining. You see, the way this city was built on Rochelle's side of the tracks, that's where everybody lived at. Okay, because that Baker Canal ran through there, and the water that came down came through there, so they pretty much did flood the same way. This was a side that would flood. And you can tell if you walk around like we do and drive around, because, boy, I tell you what, everybody in this city at that time was an engineer. You could tell, Keith. You could tell everybody was an engineer, because the ditches running, people cut their own ditches, and the ditches was running in, so when you cut a ditch, say you flood somebody else. You could see that all over the city. But the best idea they came up with was the lift station, Dr. Vincent, but they didn't have any generators in there. So when it rains and the power goes out, okay, the lift stations can't keep the sewage running to where it needs to go. So we changed out, you guys did. We got the 7 lift stations with the generators, right? Every one of them has a generator in there now, which means when the power come on, the generator comes on and it keeps the sewage moving. The water, when it starts to bubble, like where the Parkwood Terrace, that means that it's having a little rough time there. And so what they do, they'll have to come back out. That's why they came back out the next morning, which is policy to go back and check the main line to make sure that we have no backups and that it can get to the lift station. Well, the lift station saved the city from flooding. So what used to happen before that happens is that people like in Buffwood, Miss Patsy, they couldn't flush their toilets, okay, because they would back up because the sewage wasn't moving, because the water going down, everything going down in there. But that's what happened. So that's a good deal what he did. That's policy. We probably should do that all the time. We just started doing that. So make that call. My point is make that call like Dr. Vincent so we can come check the main line to make sure that the main line is flushed out. But if we come and flush the main line and you still backed up, then that's a problem at your house, getting out to the main line. Okay? So you got to understand that before you call the plumber, because the plumber is always going to tell you what, Captain? It's on the city. He's going to charge you for coming out. Call somebody. Call the caller to make sure so we can make a determination on whose side it's on. Okay. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to go into administrative matters real quick so we can get out of here. Not much, but I do want to talk about we talked about people volunteering for stuff. Okay, we put it out on the internet. We tried everything to get people to come out, to volunteer for different stuff. We have about 10 people that we don't work to death. They finna quit. They ain't getting paid enough. They finna quit. I'm looking at like 4 of them in here now, and we know there's the same people that's working all the time. But I'm gonna ask my colleagues, can you talk to the people that you talk to the most in your district and see who wants to come out and volunteer? You know, I mean, we do need volunteers for different things. Dr. Vincent said that they talked about my Christmas lights so bad, but won't nobody come help me with us? Won't nobody come help us? Oh, you did. You volunteered for that. But, I mean, we do need people who want to do that.
Yes.
But we want people who want to work as a team. Okay? Those people who don't want to work with the team, that's fine. I don't care whether you like each other or not. Let's just work as a team. We do it every day. Okay? Work with people that we don't like every day. That's not the issue. The issue is we get more done. But if you got some ideas, instead of talking about me on Facebook and talking about me at church to all these people who don't come back and tell me anyway, come tell me your ideas. I ain't scared of that. Okay? We growing. We are growing. And so we got to get used to growing now. Okay? We got it. It's moving forward fast. Levy Lane is already being done. They're going to start work on Boone Road real soon. They're going to start work on Baker Boulevard real soon. You know, it's a lot of other stuff going on around here. So, but we got to adjust to that. All right? So, Councilmember Dunn and a couple of colleagues, we're trying to work on programs. And this is what they've been talking about. They're trying to work on programs for the kids after school, the older kids. Trying to work on getting programs for them to get them in schools. If y'all got any ideas on what we need to do so we can get them in programs after school. Now, everybody ain't going to want to do those programs. But if you got any expertise in that, we're looking to hear from that. Okay, we're looking to hear from you for that. Just give us a suggestion, Dr. Vincent. We've talked about some things like that.
Yes.
Okay? But that's where we are now. So we're asking for your help on that. You know, because I know y'all talk from this group of people here, y'all probably can hit 150 people tonight in the morning. That's what he said, because you're going to call them. But see if we got anybody. We're working on those programs. Now, here's the deal with the park. Okay? We spent, and I say we spend a lot of money to get a nice park. And if you come out here on the weekends, it is full of kids. But we need to find something for the big kids during the week. The park is a family park. That's the reason we did it. We did it for that, to come out with your family, and they bring the kids. You got to come out here sometimes. It's beautiful to see all the kids running on the stuff that we paid for together. Brand new stuff. Okay? We got to take care of it. Okay? We got to take care of it. So now we're working to make sure that we can get stuff for those kids that get out of high school in the afternoon. All right? And so if you got any ideas, we got stuff at the workforce development. I know Councilmember Dunn and a couple of her colleagues are working on other things that we can do that. But if you got some expertise, we need your help. Okay? And then you can get your complaints in and then go back to work. We'll be good. All right.
Yeah.
So we go ahead.
And while you volunteered, I forgot to mention KBB.
That's where I was just going to get to that. So
okay. All right. Just that.
we talk about the cleanup, okay? And it's the last thing. We always talking about cleanup, but we only got like 0.5% of people who doing it on that day. It ain't that many people coming out here on that day that we do. Why? I don't understand. Because we talk about we want a clean city, but we won't come do nothing. The deal is you got to get out and come do it. And here's the deal. Let me give you a good idea. If you want a clean city, clean what's in front of your house. You start in front of your house, especially where we live. You do something where we live at. When one person do something, you could always tell when the yard's bad, because when the first person come cut the grass, then the lawn people start showing up all over. That's the same thing everywhere. Okay? Get yourself squared away first, and then we can build out. But when he have these days, these city days, now we'll show up for Buffalo Festival when we got the music, good food, and everybody just, but for days where we need to go clean up in the ditches and around, we need to do that. It don't take a council person to get y'all to do that. You just get up and talk to your neighbors who you talk to anyway. Here's an example. Miss Patsy, I don't know how long she's been living here, probably about 40 years. She walks every single day and pick up all the paper through Buffwood.
Yep, that's right.
And ain't never asked for nothing. And she's sick some days. And then they got the other lady who doing it with the dog. She got the dog and she got the thing in her hand and she's picking up the paper.
Yeah, true.
If we find one or two of those people in other areas, then we can get it cleaned up. That's all I'm saying. It's time that we just come together and do the things. We make it clear we got a template. So we say we want it clean up your area. Talk to your neighbors, clean your area. Okay, and go from there.
That's right. That's the idea of Councilman Vincent, Friendly Neighbor Keeper Initiative. It's 10 years of age and older. Clean up your front yard, as you said, man, and each of your neighbor half of their yard. And they got the program at the library. We can get the grabber and the gloves and all of that at the library, free of charge.
Free of charge.
Yeah.
All right.
Check it out.
So, okay, so look. So now, these condemnations that we got on here, all right, we did some writing. So what we're going to do, and I talked to Ms. Walls, so we're going to go out and we're going to inspect all these condemnations to make sure that they're good. So once they make sure that they still in bad shape, tell Rochelle called me every day. So what we're going to do is, if they're in bad shape, then we're going to go and then we're going to check the tax office. And we're going to see who own them again, and then we're going to send one letter out. After that, I'm going to bring it back to y'all. We're going to start tearing these jokers down. When we get into the budget, start knocking them down. But remember, the idea is to get them to knock it down and clean it up.
That's right.
Good business, huh? What y'all think? That's the idea. But if they don't, some of them got to go. You know, it's just some of them we got to clean up. They got to be knocked down. And so we'll go through that process. So, colleagues, I want y'all to take a look at the addresses again. And y'all know the people. Y'all need to tell them, and y'all can give them grace.
Mine don't answer the phone.
So if they don't get no grace, they get a race to the trash, because that's what the deal is. Last thing, the ordinance, the deal with the sofas and stuff, like we had on what's that street? Call me by about 10 times. Sharon. Okay, so we figured that out today too. Okay, that's happening across. Now we got the cameras going up. He's putting the cameras up as fast as we can. But Waste Pro will not pick up on an empty lot. So if you got an empty lot, call me so we can do the research on it and figure out who's putting there. So we thought that the apartment complexes was putting the stuff out there, but they're not. They're owned by Amy Rebel. So what they're doing is that we got people coming in dumping. Somebody they're going to tell on you on that street right there. They're going to tell everything. And they already done told, so we know we got people coming. But you put one sofa there, and all of a sudden it builds up. You got a whole house. Okay? That's what's going on. So if you see the trash, and y'all right, they're going to ride it right by it. Man, he picked that trash up. I told you he ain't doing nothing in this city. Call me and tell me so I can get the trash picked up, and I'll know. I can't see it all. And when I start riding, they be trying to bring me back in, Dr. Vince, because I be calling 100 times about this. So the deal is, if you see it piling up, just call. Call somebody and say they got some trash, or take a picture and do that. Once again, working together. Everybody working together to try to keep it clean. And it ain't gonna be perfect. That's all I got.
Mayor, let me say something.
Okay, go ahead.
One of my constituents had some bulk out there, and he called me, and so I called and informed him. He said they passed it up about 2 times. Now, here's what Waste Pro told me. They told me if you want bulk picked up, you have to call and schedule it, whereas the other company would, on Fridays, they would just do it. So they say you call.
Now, you would have had to call them too.
Yeah.
But what's Republic had been here so long?
They just started.
They just got old and just got settled in it. Okay, so Waste Pro would do the same thing if you let us know. But they try to, that's what their policy says. But they come on Friday. Now, we ain't really had no big issues yet. The next month is when everybody going to clean their yard. And it's going to be piled up. Don't put them under the trees. Don't put it under the wire. Okay, you can't put it because they can't reach up. If you look at what they're using, they got to go up high. So that means that the city got to come and pull them to a place where they can get to 'em. It's gonna come out. But if you got a problem like that, we do it. But Mr. Neese and Ashley, them, they take care. If they tell you that, then just call and we'll put it in there and we'll get them to them the next time they picking up. Okay, we good? All right, we don't have anything else on this agenda.
Number 13 on your list is, I think that somebody got that house. I think.
Somebody got that
I'll
house.
keep
That
you
house
posted
going.
on
Yeah, we're going to take that off. I'm going to ask Miss Angela Walls, can we take that off? But we're trying to get this list down because it don't look good. All right, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I so move that we adjourn.
Ms. Walls, we got motions by Vincent and Dunn. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Collins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, let's move on. We got reports everywhere today.
Sure do.
All right, I'm going to get that good call tonight. Great job. I want to tell Mary Sue we got it. Hillcrest Memorial Gardens, we call to order. And I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting. Second by Vincent, Commissioner Vincent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have reports from the last 3 months. Go back and take a look at it. And so we have to, I'll make a motion that we accept the reports from the last 3 months.
Second.
Got a second by Vincent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second by Dunn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we will adjourn. All right, I call to order Baker Consolidated Utilities Commission. We have 3 reports there. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting. Second by Vincent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
3 reports.
I don't
3
have but
reports.
2. For utility
It's in there. And before you leave tonight, you got 2. We'll get your 3rd one because we got some copies. Everybody else got theirs? Mm-hmm. And it might just be 2. I thought it was 3. Could be me. All right. Can I get a motion to accept the reports? I'll make a motion that we accept the report. Can I get a second? Second by Vincent and Dunn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
We have seconds from across the board, Ms. Walls. We are adjourned. Thank you. Huh? Huh? Sewer, yeah, that's part of utility. Yeah, that's general fund. You probably get the general fund every quarter. We just throw it in there.
Okay, they just do it. Okay. I was just trying to see. I didn't call it.
I didn't call it. But when you see the general fund, normally the budget comes next.
Okay.
Dr. Benson?
Thank you for this gas line.
Yeah, y'all got the gas line stuff that we put in there?
Yeah, the big paper.
The big paper.
The big paper, yeah.
Just bring it.
And